All right, last video, just what is really going on with Dead by Daylight's, DDoS attacks, which obviously, you know, Lily brought up in that video, which we've been talked about. Like these have been in the game for like a really, really long time. These have been in the game for a really long time. I knew of them in 2020, with the artist stuff, or was that was that artist? Whenever the artist chapter came out, that's when I first heard of it, whatever that was. And Brian was here earlier and said that they knew about that all the way back to 2017, and they haven't fixed it. Like, that's scary. It's really scary. So like, we'll see. PixelBush is very, very smart, very, very intelligent human being. Love their videos so much. Very, very wonderful. Somebody I watched before I even made content myself. So I just put the link in the chat over here. Be down in the link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. Very, very awesome, wonderful content creator. Please make sure you subscribe and like their videos to support the official release. So let's go ahead and see what their take is with what's really going on with the DvD's and DDoS attacks.
Foes, survivors, and killers. Let's sit around the campfire together and talk about Dead by Daylight. Specifically, the recent epidemic of DDoS attacks on streamers and content creators, what might be causing it, and a recent tweet by Behaviour that's got people a little hot under the collar, shall we say. In case you're not aware, a recent wave of DDoS attacks have been crippling streamers and content creators for Dead by Daylight. And this isn't the first time this has happened. Back in the autumn of 2021, this was happening to a lot of streamers and content creators as well. When it died down at the start of last year, a lot of people were fairly sure that Behaviour had found the vulnerability and the issue had been quietly resolved. But since the recent wave of DDoS attacks has demonstrated, that may not necessarily have been true. Admittedly, Behaviour never legally announced that the problems had been solved, so there's a very real chance that the DDoSers simply got bored, which meant the problem more or less solved itself.
Yep.
But now that it's back with a vengeance, it's clear that a more permanent solution...
And they keep relying upon that. They keep relying and kind of sweeping it under the rug, right? Like, as long as the people who want to do the DDoSing get bored, they don't have to fix it from their eyes. But, like, it's affecting people's livelihoods. It really is. It's affecting the state of your game. It's affecting the perception of your game. It's bad PR for you. Like, it's not good.
To be uncovered by Behaviour.
I just want to say this just in general. I know this is a more big thought, not just the DDoS thing, but imagine if you actually went to DbD's streams and they're like, bro, I love this game. This is amazing. I hope you get it tomorrow. And that's what most of them said. But I feel like if you go to most DbD streams, most of them are like, yeah, this game's trash. Like, I play it and I like it, but like, this game's trash. This game sucks. That's horrible PR. That's horrible PR. And they just kind of like, yeah, that's just how it is. Yeah, that's fine. They just let that be, and it's just something, isn't it?
And quickly. If you can think of a major streamer for Dead by Daylight, at least one who plays on Steam, there is a good chance that they've been DDoSed at some point in the past couple of weeks. If they haven't, they've instituted specific countermeasures to ensure that doesn't happen. Perhaps using a VPN, or playing on an Epic Game Store account or other similar alternate account, where hackers don't seem to be able to...
It's my trash game,
Before I go into Behaviour's responses to the 2023 DDoS epidemic, I want to briefly outline what a DDoS attack is for someone who might be familiar with the concept. A DDoS attack, or distributed denial of service, is a form of cyber attack where the internet connection of a person or business or server is overloaded with spam requests until it's rendered basically unusable.
Yep.
Targets of DDoS attacks are flooded with thousands or millions of superfluous requests, overwhelming the machine and its supporting resources. In layman's terms, choking your internet connection with tons and tons of requests until it just breaks. Think of your internet connection like a mailbox.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
The data that you collect from the internet goes into that mailbox like a letter. A DDoS attack is when thousands and thousands of postmen all stuff your mailbox with letters at the same time,
like the Harry Potter
until
scene.
It can't take anymore and just pops open. A DDoS attack can knock your internet out for hours or even days on end. Really, as long as the people doing it want to keep doing it. And if you're a streamer, especially if you're doing it for a living, that can make the situation almost untenable for you, since you can't stream and therefore collect income. Understandably, this has got a lot of people very, very frightened about the possibility of them being DDoSed, of having that internet connection completely throttled. And to assuage their fears, Behaviour has been keeping us updated with how they intend to combat this problem. Obviously they can't give us the blow-by-blow, because they don't want to give the hackers more information than they otherwise would, but they have to maintain some line of communication with the player base in order to convince people that something is being done, that it is being looked into. But a recent tweet by Behaviour has got a lot of people very, very angry, and on the surface, you can see why.
Yeah, because they're just like, oh, we don't know what's happening. We found this one thing, but we're pretty sure we fixed that, and we have no evidence that this thing is happening. Yeah. I want to feel safe while playing my favorite game, right? Not my favorite game of all time. That's Resident Evil 1. But, like, my favorite game at the moment, the one I put the most hours into. Like, I want to feel safe playing that game. I want to feel like I'm going to get DDoSed. And when the main company goes, well, we don't know what's happening. There's no evidence of it occurring. Really
reading of this would be behavior basically saying the DDoS attacks aren't really DDoS attacks, they're just game crashes, and we fixed that, so everything's going to be fine. Which is obviously demonstrably not true. This, shall we say, indecisive communication, and this community's borderline fixation on taking everything the devs say in as bad faith as is humanly possible, has led to takes like this.
Hey guys, Scott here. Behavior has finally decided to address the DDoSing issue by doing absolutely nothing and saying that there's nothing wrong. So it's all in your head. You're all making it up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Players feel that behavior is lying to them or gaslighting them, whatever other language you want to use, to basically indicate that behavior are not.
I said this in the last video. I'll say this in this video if this is the only one you're watching. You didn't watch the last one. The DDoS situation basically boils down to this: since it's been in the game since 2021 at the least, and potentially 2017. That I can't speak for because I wasn't around for there. Either they really have no clue what's going on, which is an incompetency thing, which is scary, or they don't care and they're letting it do its own thing, which is also scary. Both of these are not good options. They are not good paths to go, and it's deeply worrisome no matter what the truth is. So, yeah.
Truthful here. It isn't really a problem. You've got nothing to worry about. We were always at war with Eurasia, etc., etc., etc. But this reading is predicated on one thing. One assumption that players are making that isn't necessarily true.
For us to get DDoS, they have to have our personal IP address. It has to happen. That's how that works. You can't DDoS something without its IP address.
Well, can might not be the right term, but you certainly could, providing certain conditions were met. Those of you cursed enough to spend any amount of time on the DbD sub may have seen this post from somebody pretending to be a cybersecurity professional who discusses exactly how a player could be DDoSed without the person doing it.
No, don't ever buy into this stuff. Don't ever buy into this. It's so many people come forward and be like, I'm a this, I'm a that. I worked at behavior and I know this inside thing. Don't ever believe stuff like that. That just gets posted on like a Reddit post somewhere. Treat it with a grain of salt. You can't look at this stuff and herald it like it's like the absolute truth. You really can't. You really can't.
Actually knowing their IP address at all. Being the research enthusiast I am, I've reached out to the guy. Admittedly, I can't vouch for his credentials because he's just a bloke on Reddit, but as someone more familiar with niche horror movies and Magic the Gathering than cybersecurity, I figured it'd be...
Hey, the Poughkeepsie tapes are amazing. Wonderful movie. Very wonderful found footage movie. If you've not seen this movie, it's really good. Really, really good. That's how I know. Oh, Pixel has good taste.
Literally dishonest of me to not at least look into this idea. And, honestly, it makes a lot of sense. This person, who didn't wish to be recorded, asserted that the DDoS attacks may not have come from leaked IP addresses, but instead from some server or service between players becoming compromised. Dead by Daylight runs on dedicated servers, which means that data packets get sent from the server to the individual players in a match that inform their client what's going on at any given time. If these servers were to be in some way compromised, then cyber attackers could manipulate the contents of the packets from the servers, knowing that these manipulated packets would be sent to the players of the lobby that server is governing at that moment. Notably, this would not require knowing their IP addresses, only being able to access the server that's sending them the data. To bring back the postbox analogy, it'd be like if, instead of them sending the letters directly to your mailbox, they're sending them to a PO box with the confidence that they would be forwarded onto your, main mailbox. They don't need to know your actual address, they just need confidence that the manipulated data that they're loading in is going to get there. The actual game servers do the rest of the work for them. This could be an issue with behaviors
I think it's one of those things, it's like, okay, so A, first off, before we dive in this conversation, if this guy is right, which needs to be corroborated by other security experts, if this guy is right, why did behavior not think of this? You know what I'm saying? Part of your job is upholding the security of your servers. You're telling me that they would not foresee this coming? This has been in the game for literally years. Like, you think we're just gonna cut them slack because, like, well, technically, maybe they're going through this back door instead of the front door? You think they? You think they didn't think? Did they? That's what it comes down to. Then it's still the same thing. It's like, did they just not think of this? Did they literally just not think about this? There's just not a possibility that they thought could happen. Once again, it's either, you know, they couldn't figure it out, and we're compromised in the meanwhile, or they know and they don't care.
Game servers, or it could be an issue with something else entirely, such as the Steam multiplayer network. Anything that sends data to players and doesn't validate or check data for things like size and form could potentially lead to these DDoS attacks if they become compromised. But all of this is on one proviso. If the game servers or something similar is what's carrying the data to these players in the first place, these DDoS attacks should only be happening either when a player is actually playing the game, i.e. communicating with the servers, or shortly afterwards. Once the connection between the player and the server is broken, then these packets stop being able to be sent. This is at a contrast to a potential IP leak, because if your IP is leaked, you can be DDoSed much more easily. As long as
but there's also doesn't explain people that have, because this has been happening to people that have, streamers that have been targeted and had their streams DDoSed, then they, change their IP address and it no longer happens. That doesn't really explain why that's a thing then. That would need to be looked into. Because if they're not doing it through your IP address, how come changing the IP address helped? Yeah.
You're on the internet without a VPN and your IP address gets leaked, then you can be DDoSed, regardless of the servers you're connected to. The biggest thing that would sink this theory of it being a server issue rather than an IP leak would be if streamers and players were getting DDoSed when they weren't actively connected to game servers. Fortunately, despite all the reports of DDoSes, I've not heard a single one in which the players who are being DDoSed weren't actively playing the game at the time that it started. If these DDoSes were being caused by an IP leak from behaviour, they'd be able to happen 24/7. And doubtless players would be doing this 24/7. You really think if the IP address of somebody like Ots or True Talent was to get leaked, they wouldn't be being DDoSed every hour of every day until their IP address got changed? But as far as I'm aware, that isn't what's happening. They're only being DDoSed when they're actively playing the game. The difference to player experiences might be ultimately insignificant, but the difference does matter. For one, maybe don't accuse behaviour of gaslighting or lying to their player base when you don't actually know anything about cybersecurity, because it runs the risk of you looking very, very stupid.
Well, like, I respect almost every take this person says, and I love their videos, but like, you can't really sit in your ivory tower and go, yeah, stop talking about cybersecurity because you don't know anything when you were taking all of your information in this video from a just trust me bro Reddit post and a Reddit poster that you talked to, right? Like, you can't at the same time be like, guys, stop commenting on this because you don't know cybersecurity, when you admit yourself you don't know cybersecurity and your source is somebody who can't verify that they're an expert because of anonymity. You can't do both, in my opinion, in this situation. You gotta pick a struggle, brother. You gotta pick a struggle. You can't hold both these opinions, I don't think.
Turns out that your suppositions were wrong. If these DDoS attacks aren't being caused by IP leaks from behaviour, but through server issues, be those from behaviour, Steam, or wherever else, that means players are a lot safer than they might otherwise think. Because if you're being DDoSed through the game, you can avoid being DDoSed by just not playing it. But if you're
this I don't know, this feels like a miss to me, right? Like you said, like Pixel said, they were going through like what's really going on with the DDoS attacks, and all that's behind this is just a Reddit post and a trust me bro like professional. You want a professional if they are? Like, that's it? That's what that I don't know if that's enough to hang your hat on, you know? Much less be like, hey, community dumb for it, right? Like, I don't know.
IP address gets leaked from the game, then that's a whole
rare
different
miss
problem. Because once your IP's out there, you're kind of there's no getting rid of it without getting
until
a
you
whole
change
new
it,
IP address. It doesn't matter whether you're playing the game or not from that point forwards. The following is a message to all content creators, streamers, whatever else who've been affected by or worrying about these issues. If you've been DDoSed, it'd be very helpful for behaviour and anybody else to know when it happened and what you were doing when it happened. Were you in a match? Were you in the lobby? Were you playing the game at all? What platform was it on? The best way that we can find to help others stay safe right now is to keep each other updated on exactly
I get that this is a thing, but like, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm really not. I've already said it before. Why?
What's happening, so maybe
I'll
we
hold
can
my
work
thoughts
out how and
for now.
why. If you're going to share them on Twitter, use the hashtag DbD's so we can assemble some small online data pool to share our experiences. Another thing I've heard suggested is to run a tool called Wireshark, a tool that analyzes the packets your PC is receiving. These data packets will contain sensitive information, so if we're going to send them to somebody to be analysed, make sure it's someone you trust with that information. This tool will help you monitor what your PC is being sent, where it's coming from, and may even function like a black box recorder in the event of a DDoS attack. But again, if you're going to use it, send the data to someone you trust if you need help understanding it, because it will contain sensitive data. So, in short, yes, for all we know, behaviour could be lying to us and putting themselves in serious legal hot water to gaslight players about a security vulnerability.
Yeah, but who's going to sue behavior over this, you know? Like, I get that that's what Pixel's leading into is like, oh, it'd be legal hot water. But it's also like, we're a bunch of like streamers that either live in like, you know, apartments by ourselves, some of us with our folks. Like, we're not gonna be able to afford legal action on behavior. Who's gonna do that?
Let's see, which would be pretty heinous. Or this could be the result of some sort of server vulnerability with behavior, Steam, or something else entirely that's involved with communicating data to the players of the game.
With how many years this has been in the game, I don't, forgive me, but I really don't give a I really don't care. This has been in the game for potentially 5 years. 6, it's 2023. This game has been potentially in the game for 6 years. 2017 to 2023? Say something positive? I'm lucky we get to experience all this together. We get to just lament and panic. All of it, we're all here together. We're in this. You and me. Holding hands as the ship goes down. I'd rather not do it with anybody else. Not do it with anybody else. No, you asked for me to say something positive. You need to determine the validity of my positive statements. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. There are no refunds. There are no refunds. We're banned on the Titanic. Yeah, we're going down. And I'll make room for you on the door. Like that other lady. I'll make room for you on the door. I'm not a weirdo. Anyways, what I was going to say. After potentially 6 years in the game, confirmed 2 years, potentially 6 years in this game, I don't think we don't know what's going on cuts it. If you've known about it for this long, I don't think I don't know what's going on cuts it. I don't think maybe it wasn't the IP addresses cuts it. There's been a security issue for an extremely long amount of time, and you fumbled the ball. I don't think that cuts it. Even if it is like the side server thing and not like the IP addresses directly. I don't think we don't know cuts it at this point. You've had plenty of time to resolve this, even if it's the 2-year situation instead of the 6-year situation. You've had plenty of time to resolve this and you chose not to. Or you just didn't know what was happening, and because it went under the rug, you decided to stop trying to handle it. And just prayed it wouldn't come back again. Your job while I'm playing your game, in terms of security, is to protect me. So I can keep playing and enjoying your game. So I'm not compromised. That's your job. That's the bare minimum that other games provide me. The bare minimum. And if even in this supposed example, which hasn't been corroborated, that it's a server thing, not an IP address thing. Behavior still, no matter how this lays out, knew about this issue 2 years ago. And because it just started to happen less, didn't fix the vulnerability. Because it started happening less, they didn't fix the vulnerability and it came back, which means no matter how you slice this, they made a compromise on your safety for whatever reason. That'd be financial, just laziness. They made a compromise on your safety somewhere for this to even be happening. So I don't really think that, maybe it's not the IP addresses makes me feel safer. It makes me feel happier. Because they still didn't fix it. 2 to possibly 6 years, they didn't fix it. They didn't keep pursuing it until it was resolved. That's dark. That does not make me feel safe.
Again, I'm no cybersecurity expert, but the seeming lack of players being DDoS attacked outside of playing the game itself does suggest this isn't an IP leak, and that behaviour are not in fact lying to us. And if I'm wrong,
If this guy's legit,
the people who can prove that outside of behaviour themselves are the hackers who are doing this. So if any of you feel like gloating at Saturday morning cartoon villains and explaining your evil plan to the whole class, then my DMs are always open. If not, I guess I'll see you for the next video. The Reddit thread I was referring to is linked in the description, so you can go check that out if you'd like. And while you're down there, do feel free to do a bit of subscribing because it would go a long way.
Which you should do.
I know we talk about lore and horror movies, cybersecurity isn't really my thing, but I just thought I'd weigh in because, after all, research is one of the things I do best. And if there's one thing I really can't stand, especially in this community, is people jumping to conclusions about something that they ultimately don't know a lot about. In any case, I guess I'll see you next time.
You don't need to. I get to about, like, you know, the design of Adriana or the doll merchant or whatever, but like our cybersecurity, we're not allowed to jump to conclusions or be scared and potentially act irrational. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Okay. You know, when people, especially streamers, who it's their livelihood, are having their livelihood cucked, maybe they're gonna freak out a little. And rightfully so. Who cares when they say ABC versus CBD? Like, huh? You're gonna nitpick their response? To behavior fumbling the ball, like we just talked about, behavior fumbled the ball somewhere, no matter what the source of the problem is. The problem has been in the game for 2 to 6 years, and they have not adjusted it. And they fumbled the ball. They fumbled the ball with our security. And you're going to be like, well, actually, you said that was a IP issue. And technically, actually, it is a server issue instead. So therefore, you're not allowed to complain. What? Huh? You want to run that by me again? That I think it's the first video I've watched of yours that I'm like, ooh, that's kind of an L. That's an L take. That's an L take. I don't know about this one. I get so jazzed and excited for all of your character concepts and all your lore videos. And even when you make it like a character concept, it almost always like makes sense and fits into the health of the game. This was a bad take. This was a bad take. Behavior fumbled the ball with our cybersecurity, and you're going to start nitpicking people about it? I don't have to be a plumber to know if my ceiling's leaking that I got a problem. You know? I don't need to know why it's happening to know there's a f***ing issue. And I have a damn right to be fucking mad about it. What if the ceiling was leaking and the plumber told me he'd fix it tomorrow and he doesn't show up for 3 weeks? I'd be alright to be pissed. I don't need to know what's going on with the plumbing to be pissed at the plumber who told me he was going to fix it and then he just fucking didn't. And then my ceiling starts leaking again just because it stopped leaking for a second. He's like, I don't know, I guess I just won't look at it. I guess I'll just go home. I have a right to be mad at that guy. I already called him out to fix the issue, and he didn't fix it while he was there, and just waited for the ceiling to leak again. Could have just fixed it the first time. But no, he was lazy, he didn't want to do it the first time, couldn't find the issue, and couldn't admit it. Or something. I'm allowed to be mad. I'm allowed to be mad about that guy. And this is something that's not even just, like, new to, like this conversation. The people do this all the time. Like, Fog Whisperers have done it. Just behavior airheads have done it. Like, if you've never done game design yourself, you're not allowed to complain about the game. You're not allowed to complain about game balance. If you never made a game yourself, you're not allowed to complain about the bugs. I don't have to be an expert to know something's off. I don't have to be an expert to know something's wrong and be upset about it. This is a bad take. This is a bad take. I understand, like, from an educational perspective, being like, well, actually, I talked to this person, and you know, take this with a grain of salt. But if this person's actually right, and they are actually a cybersecurity expert, this could potentially be the issue. and I'm going to send this over to behavior and see if they can see if this is the real issue. So just keep a lookout. Maybe, you know, reframe the way you talk about like IP addresses, because it might actually be the server instead. But that's not the tone of the video. The tone of the video is, I hate, like, the quote was, I hate when people talk about stuff they don't know anything about it. It's like, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. There's plenty of times we can, you know, take an elbow drop, dunk on the DbD community for being stupid. I don't think their cybersecurity was the time to do that. I don't think our security is the time to do that. I don't think that's the time. I don't think that's the hill to die on, pal. I think our safety while playing the game is something we should be mostly unanimous on. And not start, like, nitpicking and talking down to people about it. I'm a little disappointed by this one. We'll still watch their videos. It's not like I'm like, I hate them now. We're not going that far. Just making that clear. But, like, this was an L take, and I'm not about it. I was pretty disappointed to hear you say that. Pretty disappointed.
To tough for now.
Okay, yeah. That's it. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed by that. No, Ghost Rider. You didn't know exactly why your safety was compromised, so you don't know what you're talking about. So you're not allowed to be mad. Like, what? Brother, what are you talking about? Oh, that was not what I expected going into this video. That was not what I expected going into this video. I am, yeah, like I said, a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed by that. Can't hit all, you know, you can't hit W's. Can't hit all W's. There's plenty of videos I've released that people don't agree with, people hate. That's okay. But, like, yeah, this is I feel like this is definitely one of these for you. This was a video that, like, I feel like that was an L. Yeah, yep. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Just, you know, maybe, not talk down to people who are frustrated that their cybersecurity is in danger. Even if they're wrong, just kind of politely tell them, hey, it may be this instead. I can't corroborate it, but this might be a reason this issue is happening. Be educational about it, not condescending, please. Like, yeah, be educational about it. Try not to be as condescending about it, because we should be as united as we can be. Having our safety withheld, or not withheld. All right, we should be as united as we can be about having our safety upheld. I feel like we should be on the same page here. This is not the time to be like, oh, those idiots. Like, oh, man. What a world. What a wild world we live in with the DbD community, huh? What a wild world we live in with the DbD community. It's never boring. It's never boring. You can't say that. It's never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment in the DbD community. There's always something happening. There's always something falling apart, some character that's too strong, some perk that's just ruining everything, some DDoS attack, some game-breaking bug. Never a dull moment in the Dead by Daylight community. Always something to talk about. And as long as that keeps happening, hey, it's... I can get mad. I have a high threshold before I'm done with anything. I live in a realm of being irritated. I live in the realm of being irritated, man. I can be irritated forever. I can keep making this content forever. Forever. So as long as you keep messing up, I'll keep talking about it.